And boom, we're live.
Boom, we're live.
Episode 68, October 14th. I got to be honest with you, I've been doing so much of the rankings and looking into that I haven't even looked up the fights that are coming up this weekend. So we have Aspen Ladd, Norman Dumont, Andrei Arlovsky, Carlos Felipe in the two big fights coming up. I think I was actually going to put bets on these, but Aspen Ladd had to postpone her last fight, so now she's fighting Norman Dumont, who's lower in the card than her last opponent would have been, Macy Chasen. So it's kind of an easy fight for Aspen Ladd, should be the heavy favorite, and then Carlos Felipe is the favorite against Andrei Arlovsky as of right now.
Who Andrei Arlovsky has actually been fucking upsetting those favorites.
Andrei Arlovsky's been doing pretty good lately. He's had, I can't remember who his last fight was, but he was definitely the underdog, and he had a unanimous decision against Chase Sherman. He beat Tanner Boser last year. So, for today's podcast, we are going to be finishing up our rankings for our own personal MMA Complete rankings for the UFC. Heavyweight and light heavyweight, as you see behind us, are the only two that we have left. If you want to check out our previous ones, which you can't really see, but they're all hanging back there, go check out episodes 67 and 64. 64, we did bantamweight, featherweight, and lightweight. Episode 67, we did middleweight and welterweight.
Hell yeah.
That's the intro. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with the rankings.
Metro Central.
So we're going to be starting with the light heavyweight rankings first. Let me just get the rankings up on the screen. So as you can see, light heavyweight, we got champ Jan Blachowicz. We got Glover Teixeira, who will be facing Jan Blachowicz in 16 days' time at UFC 267.
Awesome.
We got Yuri Prochazka, Alexander Rakic, Anthony Smith rounding out the top five. Thiago Santos, Dominic Reyes kicking around. But what we're going to do is make our own rankings. Light heavyweight, I did personally earlier today. I found it was honestly one of the closest rankings as far as the ones we've had and the one I did. Like, the UFC light heavyweight ranking is pretty spot on, in my opinion. But what we're going to do is go through each one. We're going to call out their records. We're going to talk about who they've fought in the last couple fights, and we're going to go through each one. And we're going to decide who we like for the rankings. So first things first, light heavyweight rankings. Jan Blachowicz is the champ. Is he number one on our rankings?
Yeah.
Top three, we got Jan Blachowicz, Glover Teixeira, and Yuri Prochazka.
Oof.
So I mentioned it in the last
He's an animal.
podcast that I thought Yuri Prochazka had a claim for number one. I still do, but I'm going to go on record right now and say that I believe Jan Blachowicz should be number one. If you look at his last couple fights, it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, wow.
He's only lost to Thiago Santos in the last 5 years, almost 5 years. In 4 years.
KO, yeah.
Got knocked out by Thiago Santos. That was Thiago Santos' last fight before he fought John Jones. So that's when he was on an absolute tear. So he's beaten Adesanya by decision, knocked out Reyes for the title, knocked out Corey Anderson, had a split decision against Jacare, which is not great, admittedly, and then he knocked out Luke Rockhold.
So pretty good record. Except
Pretty damn good record. Corey Anderson's last fight in the UFC was against Jan Blachowicz, and that was the number one contender fight. It was either Jan or Corey Anderson was going to advance.
Wow, and look at that record before Thiago Santos.
I know.
He's still got some names.
You got Cannonier back when Cannonier was light heavyweight. Jimmy Manuel, he was fucking shit up. Nikita Krylov, who is number 9 right now in the UFC ranking. So the one loss to Thiago Santos blemishes a 10-fight win streak.
Yeah, wow. He's not a joke.
No, he's absolutely not. Polish power. And then you look at Yuri Prochazka, who is 2-0 in the UFC, both knockouts. He's on a 15-fight win streak altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Impressive. Very impressive. Great stand-up artist, but he doesn't have the names and he doesn't have the experience that Jan Blachowicz has, which is the only reason that I would say Jan Blachowicz is better.
Yeah.
We're also missing a key component here, which is Glover Teixeira. Glover Teixeira has a great record of his own.
Speaking of it, yeah.
Finishing 4 of his last 5 in his 5-fight win streak. His last loss was 2018 to Corey Anderson. He's beaten Thiago Santos, Anthony Smith, Nikita Krylov, Ion Cutelaba, Carl Roberson. That's a pretty great record, too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you guys think? I think Jan Blachowicz should be number 1.
I agree with that.
And you could put Jerry Prochazka up there.
You could, but you wouldn't have a great basis off.
Only because Jan Blachowicz, let's go back to his record real quick. He has a former champion on his record by knockout. All right, that's something to mention. Even though it wasn't Luke Rockhold's weight class where he was favored in. Yes, Jock Ray, even though it wasn't his favorite weight class, you still beat him in.
Mm-hmm.
And Dominic Reyes was a fucking animal.
And he knocked him the fuck out.
Cold. And Izzy, even though Izzy was underweight, still fucked him up. Still fucked up Jared Cannonier. A lot of non-perspective weight class guys,
right.
But still, he's got their names.
No, his record speaks for itself. That's great competitors, and he's been pretty busy too. Like, he's not a guy. This is his longest layoff that we're seeing right now, from March to the end of October, which is like 7 months. Which is
still 2 fights a year minimum.
Right, exactly. And then you got Yuri Prochazka, 2 fights. Dominic Reyes and Volkan Ozdemir, both top 8 fighters, great fighters. He's 2-0, but he needs one more, or he needs to fight the winner of the title fight, whoever wins in 267.
There were close moments.
The UFC wanted to sign him early in his career.
Yep, and
he denied it, and because he wanted to progress as a fighter.
Yeah,
like Paddy Pimblett. It's a good idea by fighters.
He's going to get knocked the fuck out very soon.
Depends on how his striking goes, his striking training. It all depends on
that. Neck in.
He got caught 3 bad times last fight, and that's not good. But he did wait until he was 26 to enter the UFC, which he felt he needed, and I think that's something that's the right move to do. Train with the little man before you go up to the big guys.
Yeah.
The big leagues.
And one thing for it slips my mind, Luke Rockhold injured today, pulled out of the fight.
That sucks so bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No shit.
There's already somebody talking about fighting Sean Strickland, though. I heard Chael Sonnen talking about him.
Yeah, he said that it's not his. He said he's definitely fighting again.
Yeah.
Just not this time.
Who did we were saying someone up against Strickland would have been a great fight? Hermanson, maybe? Kevin Holland wouldn't be a bad shout.
Yeah, Kevin Holland versus Strickland would be a dream fight.
Yeah.
Hermanson
would be a great fight.
All right, so before we get too sidetracked, Jan Blachowicz at number 1?
Yes.
All right. Can I get you to push over?
You want me to write it down?
Oh, yeah, if you wouldn't mind. All right, so number 2.
I'm not even in the picture now.
Number 2 we have... Yeah, that's just because I'm not full screen.
How the hell do you spell Blachowicz?
Blachowicz.
God bless that guy.
I would say Prochazka's number 2, although Glover Teixeira is right there, and I wouldn't be mad, although I think you guys will probably both say Prochazka as well.
That's number 2?
Yeah.
I personally think Glover's number 2. I think he's earned it. But if we want to talk about Prochazka's 2 accomplishments as bigger than Glover's...
I mean, I could go Teixeira too, because Santos, Anthony Smith, Nikita Krylov are all top 10, and he's on a 3-fight win streak, and he knocked out, he finished the last 2.
Those 2 guys that aren't really the biggest names.
Yeah, Roberson and Cutelaba are both really good contenders, and he finished them both.
Like, that's impressive to me.
It's very impressive.
Destroyed.
Yeah, he's well, he actually made a comeback. He won his last fight. Cutelaba has. He's got to mature as a fighter, though. He's still very underdeveloped.
Teixeira has more experience. Teixeira's been longer. Prochazka had such a quick rise, but he's really damn good. I mean, Reyes caught Prochazka at one point badly.
He did. But it's who you
Glover Teixeira absolutely fucked up Thiago Santos. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, he got rocked, but he's still... Teixeira gets rocked like Robert Whittaker almost every fight.
Teixeira's a wrestler. Prochazka's a striker.
would Prochaska. Teixeira number 3. Even though he's fighting the champ, like we can't like base it off that, you know.
I think he's more accomplished in the UFC. Like, who did Prochaska fight before coming into the UFC?
Yeah,
Was
he's
he
only
a
got
Bellator?
2 wins, but I mean, if you saw the fights that he's won, dude,
Well, Vladimir Osmanov was super impressive. And Dominic Reyes was a closer fight than he's got. He really won that fucking second round.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he really won that
This
second
dude's
round. with
hair
the
is
So
first
insane.
before the UFC, he beat CB Dalloway, Fabio Maldonado, King Mo, Jake Hune. Jake Hune's got
Yeah.
old though. He beat Vadim Nemkov in 2015. Vadim Nemkov is ruling light heavyweight at Bellator right now, who, by the way, have their second round at the Grand Prix tournament this weekend.
6 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, look, you could say that Prochaska has, what is this, a 12-fight win streak? He does. But here's the big thing. Prochaska has a 10-fight
KO. Holy fuck.
KO streak. That's really impressive. That's really fucking impressive.
Yeah, that is.
We've never seen him go up against a wrestler. That is one thing that is interesting, really interesting to me.
See, that's my biggest concern for Teixeira versus Blachowicz, because Blachowicz could easily knock out Teixeira if he catches him coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And or on the stand-up, like, I think Blachowicz is a better kickboxer
But Teixeira could also just take him down the whole time.
and sub him. Like, he's an amazing grappler.
Teixeira Prochaska is the toughest one I had when I was doing my own list. Personally, I put Prochaska at 2.
So if you and Austin put Prochaska at 2, I'll go and say, sure.
All right.
That 10,
let's
that 10
do it.
KOs does a difference.
It really does. That's pretty fucking staggering.
How do you spell his name, Zach? Pro?
Prochacha ZKA.
The name.
Right.
Dude, you gotta see this guy. You gotta see this guy's hair.
Oh, I love him. I'm a fan of him, but I didn't know his record before the UFC. That's huge.
And then we got Glover Teixeira after him.
And then, who do we think? Alexander Rakic or Anthony Smith?
Well, Alexander Rakic beat Anthony Smith in the
Let's say
last
Rakic.
calendar year.
He did.
Yeah, it was one of the most boring fights we ever seen.
And he beat Thiago Santos in another boring fight.
Kind of a boring fighter.
Yeah, Thiago Santos also. Like,
Alexander Rakic is absolutely boring, but he just has never been in hot water. Like, he barely lost to Volkan Ozdemir in 2019. But besides that, he's beaten everybody. He's beaten Anthony Smith and Thiago Santos, who are both top 5 right now.
Anthony Smith's so weird when like he was like on his outs and then like now he's like on a streak again.
Yeah,
You know
he's
what I mean?
one of those
So-
guys. He can't really get it done against top 5 people, but he beats everybody else. He's one of those, like, he's going to be number 5 forever kind of
so
thing.
we're putting Rakic over Anthony Smith.
I definitely think Rakic is number 4.
Thiago Santos is, and he's
Thiago
beaten him.
Santos, I'm not a big believer in anymore.
No, but Alexander Rakic has beaten Thiago Santos and fucking.
Anthony Smith.
Thank you, Zach.
So yeah, Alexander Rakic. Rakic, Rakic.
Thank you. And then Smith. Thank you for having me on the name.
Right.
So are we doing Smith next? I'm in favor of putting
Yeah.
Smith above Santos and Reyes.
Yeah.
Who do you got?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Who do you got? Reyes or Santos?
Well,
I got
that's-
Reyes.
Well,
dude.
that's our number 6. That's going to be the next big discussion. Who
We
is?
got Reyes.
I think
Dominic Reyes is very underrated and he deserves to be in the top 5.
I would like to talk about the similarities between Dominic Reyes and Thiago Santos. Both guys were undefeated.
Reyes might be ahead
Besides-
of Smith.
Or Thiago Santos was just on a tear.
Nah,
Dominic Reyes was
he
undefeated.
just hasn't been active enough. I think in
Dominic
recent
Reyes?
times. Yeah. He had a hell of a fight with Prochaska. Like,
Yeah,
He's
fuck
had
it.
a hell of a couple fights.
Dude, that fight between Prochaska and Reyes could be the fight of the year.
Yeah.
It was only 2 rounds. It wasn't even a full 2 rounds.
I don't know how Reyes didn't get knocked out.
He did.
He almost
He
knocked
did.
out
He
Prochaska.
should have got knocked out in the
Earlier.
first round.
Right. Yeah, Reyes is tough, dude. And then he came
Both
back
of them.
after getting fucked up in the first round, and he almost lit up Prochaska.
Wow, what a loss record.
Right. John Jones, Blachowicz, and Prochaska's damn good loss record. But then you look at Santos,
It's
And
sloppy.
his latest record, lately, it's John Jones, Glover Teixeira, and Alexander Rakic.
Okay, then let's look at the wins before then.
Blachowicz, Manoa, Eric Anders, and Kevin Holland on short notice is not too impressive. But he did beat Anthony Smith, Jack Hermanson, and a couple other decent names in 2017. That's when he was still middleweight, though.
But who's the fighter that he is now? That's the real question.
The fighter that he is now is a guy that goes to a decision and barely beats Johnny Walker. And one of the big hyped up fight that became nothing.
A bore fest, just like Alexander Rakic.
Right. He has a knockout over Jan Blachowicz, which is Blachowicz's only loss in the last 4 years. And that is the big thing for Thiago Santos.
Yeah.
But that was over 2 years ago. But you look at Dominic Reyes, and his biggest win is a split decision over Volkan Ozdemir. So,
At light heavyweight, yeah.
who is it?
Well, Oven St. Preux is pretty good.
Oven St. Preux is definitely pretty good. I would say Ozdemir's a little better. So, who would win in a fight, Dominic Reyes or Thiago Santos?
That's a good fucking question. I think it's Reyes. I really do.
These two should have fought 2 years ago. As
Yeah.
soon as they both lost to Jones, they should have fought.
When they were on a tear. Yeah,
I think that Dominic Reyes beats Thiago Santos.
I think so too, because Thiago's been a very timid fighter lately,
And Reyes can wrestle.
Mhm.
He showed that against John Jones. He didn't let John Jones smother him on the ground, which was impressive. He went 5 rounds. They both went 5 rounds with John Jones. He is more powerful. He has harder punches. Thiago Santos is probably better with his legs. I think Dominic Reyes not only can beat him, but is a more entertaining fighter.
yeah, let's talk about that for a second.
Right. Thiago Santos is not very entertaining. He's a savage, but he's not very entertaining. Dominic Reyes had put up one of the best fights I've ever watched against Jared Prochazka.
So can I just click right here and look at Thiago Santos' record?
Yeah, the rightmost.
The right ones. All right.
Oh, nope. Left.
The last 2 fights he was in, not too bad for combined scores, but the one was a main event with 40 strikes. By
Right.
Thiago Santos.
And if you go to the Thiago Santos Glover Teixeira one, Glover Teixeira barely beat him by strikes, but that is including ground strikes because he was on the ground the whole time.
Yeah.
Glover Teixeira almost doubled his strikes. It's crazy that if you would have asked a year ago, Dominic Reyes and Thiago Santos were going to be the future of this division, and now it's here's the drop off.
yeah, they're kind of falling out.
Here's the drop off.
It's so
And I
quick
got
to score
Dominic
moves.
Reyes. Now, is it fair, because we can't really decide who's better than the other, to look at the next couple people on the list?
Magomed
You got
Ankalaev,
Ankalaev. You got Ozdemir.
Both of them beat Ozdemir,
You got
right?
Krylov. I'm not putting Johnny Walker on this list. I'm not
No.
doing it.
No.
Paul Craig is a name. Jim Crute is a name.
Jamal Hill's coming up. He's taking his time.
Yep.
I mean, I would.
I am Kudalava's on the list.
Yeah. Kudalov was 15.
No.
I know.
Nah.
So,
Jamal Hill,
Ozdemir's not bad.
up
pretty
and
good.
coming.
If we take a look at
Paul
Ozdemir,
Craig.
he beat Ilir Latifi, who was on his way out but is a good fighter. He beat Rakic in Rakic's last loss.
Mhm.
And his only losses are to Prochazka, Reyes, Anthony Smith, and Daniel Cormier. Those are really great that's a great loss record.
But Dominic has
He
beat him.
lost to Reyes, though.
Yeah. So,
I think that Reyes should be next up on our list anyway.
yeah,
That's
I
my
do,
opinion.
I do too. Austin, what do you think?
Yeah.
And then I would say you could argue Santos or Ozdemir.
I don't know. Let's talk about that for a second. Because
Can we talk about the fact that Ankalaev is fighting Ozdemir on October 30th?
Ankalaev's on a tear for light heavyweight.
Dude, I think Ozdemir fucks him up.
You do?
Yeah.
Ozdemir's a great grappler, right?
Listen. Ankalaev comes from a great camp, and he's on a great win streak. But look at these names. He beat Kutalaba twice, and Kutalaba is not great. Nikita Krylov, he beat by decision in a kind of a close fight.
Mhm.
It's impressive, and he deserves to be top 10. But I'm not raving
He
about
lost
him.
to Paul Craig.
I'm not raving about him.
Yeah,
His first fight in the UFC.
That's something to mention.
Triangle.
You got Volkan Ozdemir, who lit up the UFC before he got stopped by Cormier, and then has just fought killers and has beaten Rakic. That's impressive.
Ilir Latifi is not bad.
Santos or Ozdemir or Ankalaev?
I don't put Ankalaev on the 7 or 8 spot.
Did we go ahead and put Reyes at 6?
Yes.
I don't know. I like Ankalaev. So.
I like him too. I just want to see him get tried.
What do you think?
More.
Do you want to see Ankalaev above Santos and Ozdemir, or do you think he's a little lower?
No, Santos should definitely be next.
Do you think Ankalaev should be above Ozdemir? Ankalaev's on a 6-fight win streak.
I think Ankalaev should go above Ozdemir. I mean,
He has
last 3 fights have proven it. And
I would say his last 2 fights. The first fight is the one that got called early, so that's kind of a
that
scratch.
Kind of X's out. That kind of solidifies that.
He's definitely
that
better
first
than
fluke,
Kutalaba. Right.
Way better than Ian Kutalaba, dude. Like, it's not even a question.
Yeah, Ion Kutalaba needs to grow a lot. They stand up.
I mean, he's coming from a camp where all people do is fucking wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, that guy might be better on the ground,
Man.
supposedly.
I would love to see this fight before we had to pick between the spot.
Can he get him to the ground?
Ozdemir
could.
Ozdemir has 2, or no, excuse me. Ankalaev has 2 wins over guys in the top 15. Ozdemir, I think he only has 1. I think it's Rakic, but Rakic is fucking number 3. And Jimmy Manuel was probably ranked when he beat him in 2017, but that's 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I got Ankalaev, but
That's a tough one. So I'll put Santos.
Yeah, so Santos.
no, Santos. Yeah,
Santos is
and then
next.
Ankalaev after that.
Zach, do you agree with that?
Well, what do you think, Mark?
That's why I asked you. I mean, that's
Ozdemir Ankalaev is fucking tight, man. Ozdemir has more experience. He's fought better people. Ankalaev has a way better winning streak, and he's on the up and up.
We'll
just put Ankalaev, I think.
All right.
2 top 15 guys. If we have to do it that way, we'll do it that way, and then
all right.
So
So
watching that fight.
before we put Ozdemir, let's look up a couple other names because we're now down to the last 2 people. All right. So in the last 2 people, we got Ozdemir, Krylov, Paul Craig, and Jimmy Crute. I think.
Let's talk about Paul Craig a little bit.
Let's talk a little bit about Paul Craig.
So,
Very impressive in his last win. He fucking dislocated the shoulder of Jamal Hill.
And they partied after.
Yep. He's on a 3-fight finishing streak. He knocked out Shogun, and then he knocked out... It wasn't a knockout, but the ref just stopped it because his shoulder was dislocated. Jamal Hill.
Wicked late.
If it goes to the ground, Paul Craig has the fight. If it's standing, Paul Craig loses the fight 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10.
Against
loses a standing fight.
all these guys here, except for Ankalaev, up to Rakic, I think he has a really good chance of beating them on the ground. I think he does.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at Krylov's. I'm looking at Krylov's record.
That thing is fucking gross.
He lost. Well, it is, but if you look through it a little bit, he lost to Ankalaev. That's a good loss. He lost to Glover Teixeira. That's a really good loss. He lost to Blachowicz. That's a really good loss.
Yeah.
And he beat Ovince St. Preux and Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker's not great. Ovince St. Preux isn't great. So it's not a terrible record, but it's not anything. Like, we're going to have people that are worse than him before we throw him in the top.
Look at how he loses, though, by submissions, by the ground. Like, I think Paul Craig would finish him easily.
Yeah, well, he had 2 submission losses. Misha Serkinov's a great wrestler, and Jan Blachowicz can wrestle.
Yeah.
Nikita Krylov's a kickboxer.
Paul Craig's got one of the he usually finishes by submission.
Absolutely. All right, so I think Ozdemir should be next.
Okay.
And then if I think Paul Craig at 10.
Yeah, I think so too.
So who are we leaving out? We're leaving out Johnny Walker. He can go bang his ankles. Yeah, all right, I'm good with that. Ozdemir, and then to finish it off, Paul Craig. All right, so that is the MMA Complete Light Heavyweight rankings. We have at number 1 Jan Blachowicz. Why did that happen?
Do you want me to read them off, Zach?
No, I just got back to the stream and I noticed that the rankings are back. All right. Jan Blachowicz, number 1, Jiri Prochazka, number 2, Glover Teixeira, 3, Alexander Rakic, 4, Anthony Smith, 5, Dominic Reyes, 6, Thiago Santos, 7, Magomed Ankalaev, 8, Volkanovski at 9. Paul Craig at 10. I like Paul Craig at 10.
I think
a good little spot
that's
for
an
him.
important fix.
It is.
He really deserves that spot.
All right, so we'll be right
Paul
back
Craig
with
can
our
go
heavyweight
for the
rankings.
They go.
All right, coming up next, we got the heavyweight rankings. This ranking was tough when I did it. It was fucking tough. It literally took me, and it's so much easier when you're not getting perspectives of other people who know it because you're just going by what you think. So it takes me, like when I did welterweight and middleweight, like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Heavyweight took me like a good 40 minutes.
Damn. Yeah, you're by yourself trying to think from multiple perspectives. I can see how they can make it a lot tougher.
Right. But
When
at
you
the
have
same
to-
time, there's, well, we'll see when we get into it. But for right now, will this collapse?
Wow,
the way I want it
Cyril
to?
Gane is above Stipe.
Yeah, he's the interim champ. Of course he is.
Ooh, I don't know, baby. Like,
Well, and this is why we talk about it. Okay, so here's my thing, guys. Here's my thing. First of all, Francis Ngannou's number one, right?
yeah,
Francis Ngannou's number one. We can do that.
I think that's good to say. Ngannou.
Ngannou.
What'd they call him at the beginning of his career? Ngannou?
Gano.
Gano. Yeah,
Gano.
Francis Gano.
All right. Now, I got that out of the way. I gotta ask. I know everything's been going on. I know he just got kicked out of his gym. That literally, he put on the fucking map. Like, it was Jackson Winklejohn, but John Jones put it on the map. Is John Jones going to be in our rankings?
No, he is, but he's not.
Is he going to be in our rankings?
He's not in heavyweight. He hasn't fought in heavyweight yet.
Yeah.
Are we not going to put John
But he
Jones
is
in
in
this?
heavyweight.
I'll put him in my PFP.
Are we going to do a P for pound after
kinda
this?
have to
Yeah, we have
after
to.
that.
You have to.
Yeah.
Are we not going to put John Jones in this? It's up to you guys.
I don't think so. Not for heavyweight. He
I
hasn't
don't
fought
think you
in it
can put him like
All
he's in heavyweight,
All right.
but you can't
That's
put him
fine.
in it because he hasn't had a
When
fight.
he
Then I don't
fights,
have to defend
zero
myself.
fights.
Then I don't have to defend myself on where I would have put him. So we're
Number
good.
one.
All right. So now that
That's
we
what I
got
would've
Francis out of the way, it would have. Now that we got Francis out of the way, we can go on to the rest of the heavyweight rankings. So UFC has it right now. Cyril Gane at number 2, Stipe at 3, Derek Lewis at 4, Curtis Blades at 5, Alexander Volkov at 6, Rosenstrike at 7,
Mhm.
Chris Dawkins moved up to 8,
Wow.
Shamil Abdurakhimov 9, Marcin Tybura, Augusto Sakai, Tom Aspinall, and Walt Harris round out the top 13 of the heavyweight division. So, if we don't have John Jones, number 2 is either Cyril Gane or Stipe Miocic.
Stipe, in my opinion, deserves that number 2 spot, even though Cyril Gane holds the interim championship. Look who fucking he earned it from.
I think Cyril Gane beats him.
I don't think so, man. I really don't. I think he gives him a hell of a fight on the feet, but I don't.
I
think
will
he
say
beats
this
him.
for Cyril Gane. He has a very impressive record since he got to the UFC,
Yeah.
right? Like, Dante Mays is actually one of the...
Go ahead.
He's been in the mid card of UFC. He's been like a decent main card fight night guy for a couple years.
Mhm.
He submitted him. He finished him. Tanner Bozer, you can say whatever you want about Tanner Bozer. He's a good fighter though.
Yeah.
And then to knock out Junior Dos Santos on Junior Dos Santos' way out.
Yeah.
To demolish Rosenstrike, fuck up Alexander Volkov in what was kind of a close fight, but he did win.
It was a kickboxing match.
And then to absolutely dominate Derek Lewis. That's very impressive.
It
Like,
is,
it's absolutely impressive. He deserves to be top 3 for sure.
Okay, he's
But
already had 3 fights.
But
5-round fights.
now
Hey, wait,
we
let's-
have to compare him to the greatest heavyweight of all time.
But also,
I'd say-
something to
but right
mention
now-
before we move on.
oh, right
Look
now.
at the wrestling threats he's ever fought.
Yeah, I know, but right now.
0.
Right now.
0
Who's
in the
better?
UFC.
Who is
Stipe.
better right now?
I would say Stipe.
He got caught by Ngannou. He got caught. That's
So is
what
everyone
happens with
else.
Ngannou.
Why?
That's exactly. So is everyone
I would
else.
absolutely say Stipe.
Cyril Gane would fuck up Stipe.
DC
I
would
don't
fuck up
know
Cyril
about
Gane.
that.
You would fuck him up.
You cannot write Cyril Gane.
Oh, you're
What
not
do you
writing
mean?
Cyril Gane.
Okay.
What do you mean? You guys
Okay.
are fucking clowns.
Dude,
and after
I
Stipe,
can't.
after Stipe, it is
I would
definitely
first off, I
Cyril
would
Gane.
love to see that fight. I would love to see a
Yeah, I
Stipe
would
versus
too.
Gane.
I would too. Although Miocic is going to fight the winner of Gane and Ngannou. That's what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
All right, so after Stipe is definitely Gane.
Mhm.
And then
I don't think Derek Lewis. I don't know, man. He did knock out Blades.
he
but,
knocked
like,
out Blades.
Fuck, this sucks.
If Derek Lewis didn't knock out Blades,
the world
like
would be
even
a
if he had beat him by decision, I would say Blades over Lewis every day of the week. Every single day of the week.
Yeah.
But fuck, Lewis knocked him out cold.
He was getting dominated too.
Yeah, I know, but who's the better fighter?
I
would
think
say
it's
Curtis Blades. I don't
Blades.
care if he did knock him out. 8 times out of 10, who's winning that fight?
True. The
Curtis
10%
Blades is winning that
chance.
fight 8 times out of 10.
Yeah, the 10% chance doesn't dictate your spot in the ranking. I don't think
That's what I mean.
it happened, and it sucks that it happened because I think Curtis Blades
I'm saying
is
with
a
Stipe,
threat.
like it happened. Like all that greatness happened, but like what about now?
Well, he got knocked out once.
I think he knocks him out again. I think the reach and like he can maintain his distance with the kicks.
So do you think Ngannou doesn't knock out me?
Find out.
Yeah.
All right, so Curtis Blades. Wow, dude.
Yeah, that's a record.
Wow. Holy shit. Look at this. All right, since 2017. Beat Alexei Oleinik, beat Mark Hunt, beat Alistair Overeem, got knocked out by Ngannou. It happens. Beat Justin Willis, beat Shamil Abdurakhimov, beat Junior Dos Santos, beat Volkov, knocked out by Derek Lewis. It happens. And then he beat Rosenstrike.
It was a freak accident.
Dude,
I
listen, I get
agree.
that Lewis knocked out Blades, and I really feel as though that should be the ultimate tiebreaker, who beat who recently. But fuck, man, I think Curtis Blades should be above Derek Lewis.
I think so too. Fucking, I think Austin does as well. So, sorry, Derek, you're not really the greatest.
No, we love Derek. He's probably
awesome.
the greatest knockout artist in UFC history. But Curtis Blades is a motherfucker.
Not
He
the
is a
greatest knockout
motherfucker.
artist, but
No,
lucky
he
knockout
has the
artist.
most knockouts.
He
And
does have the most knockouts. Let's give
but a
Ngannou.
knockout
Ngannou
artist
is-
is different from most knockouts.
Sure. Okay, so he's the knockout king.
Yeah, I guess so.
He's the knockout quantity king.
I don't
He's
know.
one of the
I don't
best
know. The
knockout
king right now is
artists.
Francis Ngannou.
He's one of the best. knockouts.
He's a very good factory worker.
If he was the king, he would be the champ.
And then we got Volkov and Rosenstrike to talk about with Derek Lewis. I am a fan of throwing Volkov down the list. I'm not a huge believer in Alexander Volkov. I think that the fact he's 6'7" really helps him out in fights.
Yeah, I think he caps at number 5. Like
Who?
Volkov.
Oh man, I was
Did
thinking like
Volkov
8.
face Derek Lewis yet?
We can find that out. Derek Lewis, yes, he did. He got knocked out by Derek Lewis in 2018. He was also heavily beating Derek Lewis, 121 to 39 strikes before he got knocked out by Derek Lewis. It happens.
Jesus,
I think it's Alexander Volkov, dude. It's like these freak knockouts.
that's heavyweight.
All
That's the
right,
shitty part about
Rosenstrike. Lost to Curtis Blades, happens. Lost to Cyril Gane, happens. Got knocked out by Ngannou, fucking happens. Besides that, he doesn't have like a top win though. That's the only thing.
He's got
he
Andre
beat Sakai.
Arlovski.
That's it,
I
right?
really like Rosenstrike, honestly, but I've seen him like
I look at
I've seen his
Rosenstrike.
previous
He did have a
fights,
good fight against Blades. Like it wasn't a crazy close fight, but it was a good fight against Blades.
You got to think we've seen this guy fight.
And he went to a decision against Cyril Gane.
We've seen 4 of this guy's fights.
Mm-hmm.
Not impressed with any single one of them.
No,
Not even his wins. I'm impressed.
to me, he's a solid number 7. Like,
All right, so what do we have so far? Derek Lewis,
I got Volkov, but that's
Derek Lewis, Volkov, Chris Dawkins.
I only have Lewis because his record actually kind of.
I think Derek Lewis should definitely be below Blades on our list.
What's Derek Lewis' record?
It's right there. Lost to Cyril Gane, lost to JDS, lost to Cormier.
Beat a Blades. Beaten Alexei Oleinik. That's a pretty good one.
Beat a wrestler.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Ilir Latifi.
yeah. But we watched that fight. Like
He beat Volkov by. He was getting
losing.
dominated. Like, it sucked. I hate Derek Lewis' style. It's so like relying on that one. But that is a
Deontay
style.
Wilder, you know.
Yeah, Deontay Wilder versus Fury. That was a great fight.
Chris Daukaus is another name that we could bring up. He's on a 4-fight win streak ever since he got to the UFC. He's beaten Alexei Oleinik and Shamil Abdurakhimov both by TKO. All 4 of his UFC wins are by TKO. That's impressive.
Kind of like him.
So do we have Lewis? Lewis, Volkov, and Daukaus.
I think I have it in that order.
Lewis, Volkov, and Daukaus. Are we ready to put Rosenstrike below Daukaus?
Ooh.
I don't think we are. I'm definitely good with Lewis Volkov, though.
I forgot
Guard?
about Rosenstrike.
Yeah.
That's the thing about Rosenstrike. He's easily forgettable.
All right, so Daukaus or Rosenstrike? And then I know he did just lose to Daukaus.
Daukaus over Rosenstrike, dude. Like
Because he's got all KOs in the UFC.
Marcin Tybura.
KOs, and he's on a wave. Rosenstrike's kind of like
Fucking late, like
such a lazy, not a lazy, boring fighter, man. Like you're in the heavyweight division. How can you be boring?
Marcin Tybura is another name that I want to talk about.
he's got 3 good ones right there, right off the bat.
He's
Walt
Sergey
Harris is a good-
Spivak's good,
That is a good one. And a Stefan
and he
Struve.
knocked out Greg Hardy and Walt Harris.
He's got a Struve on the record.
He has
He
a
does have a
loss.
Struve
He has
on
a
the
loss
record.
to
He has a loss to Abdurakhimov
Yeah.
and Derek Lewis and Verdun, which is a decent loss record.
Yeah. but
Augusto Sakai is meh.
Wow.
Augusto Sakai was fucking up people before he got to the top 15, and then he just got beat up. Augusto Sakai, I don't think wants to be on this list. I don't think he will. Rosenstrike, Daukaus, Tybura, and Abdurakhimov. Abdurakhimov has a really good record too. I know he just lost to
He's been
Daukaus.
beaten by almost every guy in the top 6.
Who?
Abdurmakarov.
No. He
Two
lost
guys.
to Derek Lewis and Curtis Blades, but he has wins
and
over.
Chris Daukaus.
He has wins over Chase Sherman, Andrei Arlovsky, Marcin Tybura, and then he lost to Curtis Blades, and he just lost to Daukaus. So Daukaus is definitely above him, but
Yeah.
depending on who's below him, I could see Abdurakhimov being right below Daukaus. That is,
You don't see Jairzinho Rosenstrike being a...
I personally think Rosenstrike should be above Daukaus,
Okay.
but I could totally see if you guys don't want to do that. Rosenstrike doesn't have a
I
huge
like
win.
Daukaus' promise, but as long as he does go above Abdurmakarov or whatever.
Right. He doesn't have that signature win. Abdurakhimov was a great win, but he doesn't have a signature win to propel him, I believe, above a Rosenstrike. Marcin Tybura is another fucking
he
name.
beats Rosenstrike.
Yeah, I do too. In that fight in the future.
Daukaus and Rosenstrike. Ooh.
Yeah.
Daukaus fights Derek Lewis in December.
That's kind of a fucking hike.
That's a hike.
Yeah. But who knows? Derek Lewis might have the fucking bug.
All right, so we got 4 names. So it's going to be these 4 people. Rosenstrike, Daukaus, Abdurakhimov, and then I think Tybura should also be on there.
Yeah, Tybura has a good record.
And honestly,
And a great streak. Holy crap.
so who are we putting at 7?
Rosenstrike, I think.
Yeah, how do we?
Are you guys good with Rosenstrike at 7?
I don't know how to spell it.
It's like a Z-E-N.
ROZ.
It's a German name. It's so fucked up.
German.
Yeah,
His nickname's Biggie Boy.
really. He's losing weight, so he's going to have to change it. Struik. S-T-R-U-I-K.
Screw it.
All right. Now, I think Chris Daukaus should be next.
Mhm.
That's Daukaus. And then Tybura or Abdurakhimov. Now, Tybura's on a
Tybura's.
5-fight win streak, including Greg Hardy, Walt Harris. Sergey Spivak was good in 2020.
And Abdurmakarov.
It's a 5-fight win streak in
He
less than 18 months.
fucked
5
up
fights in
Greg
less than a year and a
Hardy.
half.
Wow.
He fucked up Greg Hardy.
Abdurakhimov has some great wins, though, and he has some good losses.
And he's beaten.
But he has
Marcin
been knocked
Tybura.
out twice in his last 2 fights, and he's only fought. His fight against Daukaus was his first fight in 2 years.
Yeah, let's
So,
put Tybura,
I think
man.
Tybura should be 9, and I think Abdurakhimov
What
should
do
be
you spell
10.
it, bro?
Tybura. And then Abdurakhimov, you know how to spell that, right?
Yeah. I'm just gonna put
Put Shamil.
Shamil.
Yeah. All right. There
Sorry,
it
man.
is.
Your name's too Russian.
Shamil.
There is the last
Schmiegel.
of our
Schmeagol.
MMA Complete rankings. We did not do flyweight, but I don't know enough flyweight fighters. I'm going to be completely honest with you for us to do that. Like,
Yeah,
I
we can
might
do
know
flyweight
5.
and pound for pound next.
We might do flyweight. I don't know. We're definitely going to do pound for pound. That would be really interesting. Let's take a quick look at. Actually, let's take a real quick commercial break. Then we'll get into talking about the pound for pound, and then to finish off, we'll talk about some fights coming up and some interesting developments that's been happening in the UFC world. Go check out fansonlysports.com. Go follow us on our Twitter at complete_MMA. We do live streams every UFC pay-per-view. Next is going to be October 30th and November 6th. We're going to live stream 8 o'clock p.m. till the end for both of those. Every Thursday night at 7 o'clock, we do podcasts. Check out nakedsports.com. Check out fansonlysports.com. Repping the gear. We'll be right back with Pound for Pound and what's going on in the UFC.
Hey, Zach, this new ad looks great.
Oh, thank you. All right, so pound for pound rankings, we're going to kind of go over real quick to get us ready for next week when we actually do our own. Right now, Usman's 1, John Jones is 2, Volkanovski's 3, Adesanya 4, Ngannou 5, Poirier 6, Blachowicz 7, Miocic 8, Holloway 9, Oliveira 10.
Wow.
You got Moreno, Whitaker, Petr Yan, Cyril Gane, Justin Gaethje rounding out the top 15.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to have a discussion about
We're
this.
going to have a lot of fun. I'm down to do all 15.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to tell you right now.
Dustin Poirier at number 6 is kind of...
Yeah, Poirier at 6 is going to get dropped. Stipe at 8, I think, will get dropped.
Yep. Max Holloway,
Dude,
yeah.
For me, personally, I don't think Cyril Gane should be in the top 15.
He's in the top 15.
He's 14.
Wow, okay.
I think Robert Whitaker should get moved up. And there's some names that you're fucking missing here.
Kobe, not really.
Oh, man.
We'll get into this on the 7th.
Yeah, this will be a really good podcast we'll do next week. Make sure you check it out next Thursday at 7 o'clock when we do our pound for pound rankings. We're also going to be talking about the upcoming fight night next week, which is not this week's fight night, but next week's. Paulo Costa versus Marvin Vettori, which is a huge battle in the middleweight division. Paulo Costa's first fight since UFC 253 when he lost to Israel Adesanya. Let's hope he doesn't get drunk on wine before the fight so we can actually see him perform.
I think he's been outgrown and outclassed.
I think this is a Marvin Vettori proven fight. I think this is where we get to see, Marvin Vettori is absolutely a top 3 fighter. I think he's going to beat Paulo Costa.
I think so.
I think he's going to unanimous decision Paulo Costa, and it's not going to be close.
No, I think it'll be boring.
Also,
it's going to be a good fight.
Coming up in 2 weeks, we got UFC 267. Jan Blachowicz, Glover Teixeira, Petr Yan, Corey Sandhagen for the interim bantamweight
title, the real title.
Bantamweight, right? Yeah, it's basically the real title, right? Islam Makhachev versus Dan Hooker, Volkov versus Tabura, Jingliang versus the returning Khamzat Chimaev, Ankalaev versus Volkan Ozdemir, Amanda Ribas versus Verna Jandiroba, and I thought there was one more, but I think it must just be 9 fights. And then UFC 268 is November 6th, the week after that. This is the fucking card. Wow. Usman Covington 2, Namajunas Zhang 2, Gaethje Chandler,
Oof.
Frankie Edgar, Marlon Vera.
Oh my god.
On the prelims, you got Ally Quinta, Bobby Green, Shane Burgos, Billy Quarantillo, Edmund Shabazian fighting Nasruddin Imavov. That is just the top 3 fights are ridiculous there.
They are.
And Luke Rockhold, Sean Strickland has been canceled, but that was originally supposed to be on this card too. So we'll see if they'll put anything else on this card.
I think it's possible we see a strong Strickland subbing.
Who do you want to see? Who do you want to see?
I want to see Kevin Holland, man, but will he fight again?
Right, he's been in talks with a rematch against the guy that he just got a clash ahead.
Yeah,
with.
Dawkins. Yeah,
Kyle Dawkins,
right?
His brother.
Frankie Edgar, Marlon Vera is interesting. Isn't Jose Aldo fighting soon? I thought he was supposed to fight at
He's
268.
had one of his best fights of his career.
Rob Font on December 4th.
Yeah,
I thought
He was
Dominant win over Pedro Munoz, and he was the underdog.
Rob Font versus Jose Aldo is going to be a hell of a fight.
Yeah, well,
I'm gonna go with the experience, dude. I'm gonna go with Jose Aldo.
I'm going to go with Jose
pound for
Aldo too.
pound best in the UFC at one point.
Yeah.
For a while he was.
Never count on a guy like that. And if he was to fight Conor McGregor again,
Dominic Cruz is also going to be fighting Pedro Munoz in December.
I might pick Aldo to win that McGregor fight, dude.
The rematch, McGregor has just not been hungry. McGregor's a sad path.
Yeah.
I recently on MMA Complete Podcast, go follow us at complete_MMA, liked a picture of a guy that I always follow who always puts out updates of fights over the next 2 months.
And?
I thought I had favorited it. I might not have, I guess. But there's a shit ton of fights that are going to happen at 270 as well. So 270 is Ngannou Gane, Adesanya Whitaker 2.
Oof.
And then there's, I can't remember. It's like, I'm pretty sure it's Joanna Jędrzejczyk's coming back to fight. There's a huge women's fight.
Misha Tate, maybe?
Amanda Nunes is supposed to be fighting in December, but it might get pushed back to that card in January.
Huh.
So UFC 270 looks
January.
pretty fucking good.
January would be Ngannou.
22nd?
That would be Ngannou.
Yeah, Ngannou Gane.
Oh,
I don't know.
Day. We got to get that right that day.
Yeah,
Please,
we do.
for the love of God.
So, a lot of good fights in the back half, the fourth quarter of 2021 has been nothing but bangers.
Bangarang.
Bangers.
Bang your ankles.
All right. So John Jones got kicked out of his gym.
Oh, we got to talk about this now.
John Jones. It's the biggest thing that's happening in the MMA world.
This fucked everything up. It really did.
John Jones has claimed that he's done with alcohol. He said that he finally actually wants to stop drinking alcohol.
We believe
That was literally what he said. He's like, now I actually have a reason to stop drinking alcohol.
Because I only know my wife.
And
Allegedly.
I'm just saying, he was arrested on allegedly abusing his fiance, who he later tweeted said that he has the support of his fiance and their son to stop drinking alcohol. So, if you want to believe reports,
His son's 3 years old.
If you want to believe reports, John Jones is on the right path.
His son's 3 years old.
But we've seen this before.
Yeah.
We've seen it before. I hope he gets shit together. I more so hope that his family is okay.
I just want to see him fight.
Right.
And John,
For the record,
stop fucking up so
for
bad.
the record, if I had put John Jones, if we were doing John Jones in the rankings, I would have fought you guys tooth and nail to put John Jones at 2. I would have absolutely, we would still be going. John Jones, I believe, is better than Stipe and Cyril Gane. I believe he's better than Ngannou, but I can't put him above Ngannou in the rankings.
Yeah, I think Ngannou's the only guy that could really take his fucking head off. John Jones has a thick fucking skill, man.
Yeah, he does. I mean, it's kind of been a quick pod, but, like, you guys got anything else?
I'm clear.
I mean, fights coming up. Other than that, like,
Yeah, we just kind of
hasn't
talked
been
about
nothing
it.
really going on.
Paulo Costa, Marvin Vettori, how do you see that going?
Vittori hugs him, holds him,
Vittori, because
throws
Paulo
him.
Costa's reach is about the size of a T-Rex, dude. Like,
He has
got a big
72
reach.
inch arms.
72-inch reach.
That's short.
Adesanya had an 81
short for
inch
his
reach.
middleweight, you know what I mean? Like, he can just get taken to the ground, dude.
So what's Vittori's reach?
He's one of those guys. He's a standing fighter.
I'm not really sure, but Vittori is such a good grappler, man, that I don't see this being close at all unless something
And let's
like
just
a
say
freak head
this.
kick happens by
Let's
Costa.
talk about this, all right? Marvin Vittori's proven great wrestler, and Paulo Costa almost got out-wrestled by Logan Paul,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, Logan
Right?
Paul is an All-American.
Not to
But
discredit him, I don't
Is he
think
an
he's an
All-American?
All-American. I don't think he's an All-American.
All-state.
He
All-state.
Yeah, he wrestled in
All-state
college.
wrestler,
He wrestled
Division
in a
I
Division I
wrestler.
college. He did all right.
Yeah.
All-American is All-State. But, I mean, I'm not going to take that away from Logan Paul.
I think that's impressive. I think for MMA wrestling wise, though, I think Vettori.
I just
Listen,
think Vittori's
if
just going to
Adesanya-
dominate him. He's a better
If
UFC fighter.
Adesanya doesn't knock out Vettori, I don't think Costa does. And if Costa doesn't knock out Vettori, I don't think Costa wins.
Adesanya didn't knock out Vettori twice. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
No, I think he did.
I don't know, man.
I could totally be wrong. The first time we're saying.
I'd like to see that.
The second time was a decision.
Yeah, it was quite an awful fight. But that's the way that Vettori fights. And
Yeah, it was a split decision.
split. Wow.
Mhm. All right, I got Vettori by decision. Maybe 4th round TKO on the ground.
The Italian Nightmare.
Italian Stallion, right? Isn't that what it is?
Italian Dream.
Italian Dream.
Oh my god.
He totally had the opportunity to pick the Italian style.
He totally did.
And he didn't.
I think it's kind of crazy that Aspinall, we talk about the numbers real quick. I think it's crazy that she's barely the favorite.
'Cause she
Aspinall. And I know
pulled out
she
of
just
that
had a
shit.
crazy cut weight,
Right.
but I mean, Aspinall's a fucking beast, dude.
Yeah, she's gonna-
She is.
Fucking-
She's also pretty damn young.
Yeah.
Like she's gonna be in the division for a while. She's 26.
I mean, I'm not taking anything from Norma Dumont, but I've just seen Aspinall fight. I don't think it's this close. And the over/under.
Aspinall got moved to. Oh, that's pound for pound. Oh, I was gonna fucking say Aspinall's 3. Norma Dumont is not ranked. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
What is going on? Like that doesn't make any sense to me. Like I
No,
have to
it
hammer
doesn't.
this chick.
I think so. I'm not. But it's
If
a
you had
woman's fight.
$500 to just spend,
$250 on it. I wouldn't do 5 on
I put
Carlos Felipe too. I mean, I like Arbolowski, but I think his time's done. I mean, I think Carlos Felipe in his last fight,
I've
he
said
looks
that.
fast. He
I've
looks
said that the
good.
last Arlovsky fights, and he's just fucking
That means
pulled
you're
shit
going
out
to be
of his
right
ass.
one of these times. You know what I mean? I mean, how long can you go for before that Energizer battery runs out? Dead. You got to replace it.
How many times can that nose get broken?
Yeah.
There's a guy.
Jim Miller is fighting too. Motherfucker, Jesus.
It's by Eric Gonzalez.
You guys all set though?
Yeah, I'm all
good.
set. All right, so thank you everybody for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed our latest and last divisional rankings of the UFC. We're going to come back next week with pound for pound. Who knows? Maybe one day we will do the women's divisions. We're going to have to look into that a little bit longer, though, because I want to make sure it's accurate enough to be fair. And
Mark Slides
we are
this.
also going to, I think what we're going to do, because next week is episode 69.
Hell yeah.
So we're going to be doing the pound for pound
Celebrate
rankings. We'll do something fun for it. We'll think of
A
something.
couple shots.
UFC 267 is right around the corner.
We'll
It's a
play
big
some
episode.
porn on here.
No.
It's a big episode,
No, it
dude.
Porn noises.
There's only one episode.
One
60.
thing we are going to do that I want to do, last episode of 2021, I want to have like a 2-hour special where we go over all the rankings and just finish them up because, you know, the bantamweight one's already screwed up because
That's not
Wallace
screwed
Willie beat Maurice. It's not screwed up, but we just have to update
So is
it.
the light
So I
heavyweight.
want to wait until the last.
because Ozdemir's fighting.
Right. There's a bunch of fights that are going to close out the end of the year. So I just wanted to mention that at
An
the end.
update.
I would like to do that at the end, update everyone.
I think it's a good idea.
Pound for Pound next week. That's a lot of fun. Go check us out at Twitter at complete_MMA. Go follow us on our YouTube page, MMA Complete Podcast. Go check out nakedsports.com. Check out fansonlysports.com. All that shit.
All that
Hell
shit.
yeah.
All right. Thank everybody for tuning in. We will be back here next Thursday night at 7 p.m. And we will be back for UFC 267 and 268 at 8 o'clock p.m. all the way through the main event. Have a good night.
Later.